Welcome to our channel. So without further ado, let's start the video.
The global energy supply chain is currently facing one of the largest military blockades in history. This crisis, which has flared up in the waters of the Middle East, is not merely a routine tension. It is the direct result of a multi-layered strategy deployed by the Tehran regime to bring maritime traffic in the region under its control. The Strait of Hormuz, the lifeblood of global trade, is currently trapped within an iron ring. The Iranian Revolutionary Guards have reinforced Karg Island and its surroundings with high-density naval mines to solidify their strategic superiority on the ground. However, the tactics being employed are not merely passive defense. Unmanned submarines moving through the darkness of the waters, high maneuverability attack boats, and kamikaze vessels have become a significant pressure point on civilian cargo and oil fleets. This strategic move was not limited to the Persian Gulf alone. With the entry of Houthi forces in Yemen, coordinated by Tehran, the crisis's scope rapidly expanded southward into the Red Sea. The Bab el-Mandeb Strait, another major lifeline of global trade, has become the epicenter of relentless crossfire. By constricting both main arteries of the world economy simultaneously, Iran aims to strengthen its hand at the negotiating table. This move, which appears highly calculated from a tactical standpoint, has actually ignited the fuse of a far greater storm that will transcend the borders of the Middle East. As we will analyze in full shortly, the response by the US and its allies to this siege contains a massive buildup that will rewrite the military status quo in the region from scratch. Faced with this situation, which has brought global trade to a standstill, Washington has launched one of the most extensive naval and air mobilizations of the modern era. A surprise aircraft carrier task force, dispatched to the region on an emergency basis, is accompanied by legendary A-10 Warthog fleets and dozens of B-1, B-2, and B-52 heavy bombers. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom has broken its long-standing strategic silence by deploying amphibious assault ships and nuclear-capable submarines directly to the front lines. The European contingent, meanwhile, has already gone on high alert in the Mediterranean, with its destroyers and frigates. In other words, they are coming. In addition to military shipments, the United Kingdom has also launched a diplomatic offensive. To reopen the Strait of Hormuz, the lifeline of global trade, once hostilities cease, London is preparing to host an international security summit with the participation of 35 countries. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has made it clear that reopening the strait will be no easy task, underscoring just how challenging this process will be. While diplomatic efforts are underway, military activity on the ground continues at full speed. As you know, Donald Trump issued an ultimatum to Iran, demanding that it immediately and unconditionally reopen the Strait of Hormuz to civilian maritime traffic. April 6th, the deadline, has loomed on the horizon as the day the Middle East's fate will be rewritten in fire. If the strait is not safely opened within this time frame, it is only a matter of time before the US military launches massive airstrikes. These strikes will wipe out Iran's lifeline, its energy infrastructure and massive power plants, from the map. However, even before this deadline expires, the Pentagon is deploying a new military buildup in the Middle East of a scale rarely seen in modern military history. A massive amphibious ground operation is being planned for Iran's most strategic points, starting with Karg Island. The operation is intended to be launched with nearly 5,000 Marines. Washington has effectively positioned a massive war machine right at Iran's doorstep, as if staging a show of force for the entire world. These military elements consist of naval, air, and ground forces. But one of the most critical and, for the enemy, most intimidating components of this massive military deployment is an even more powerful actor. This is where we arrive at the massive deployment we mentioned earlier. The new and surprising name of this deployment is the massive Nimitz-class USS George Bush. This massive aircraft carrier, which recently departed from the Norfolk Naval Base and swiftly entered the waters of the Middle East, has begun its mission. In fact, this floating military base named Bush was deployed to fill the strategic void left by the USS Gerald Ford, which was withdrawn to the Mediterranean after its visit to Croatia. The Iranian Revolutionary Guards had begun to grow bolder after the Gerald Ford withdrew from the region. They increased their missile and drone attacks. But the announcement that the USS George Bush is coming to the region will also affect Tehran's potential attack plans. Moreover, the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is already conducting continuous operations in the Arabian Sea and striking fear into the enemy, is also there. Taking this presence into account, the number of active U.S. aircraft carriers in the region has once again reached that terrifying level of 2. These 2 aircraft carriers, which function like massive air bases, rely on the more than 150 state-of-the-art fighter jets they carry. These jets possess an incredible firepower capable of paralyzing Iran's entire coastal defense within seconds. However, the U.S.'s strategy to encircle Iran from all sides is not limited to the show of force by these massive floating fortresses at sea. In recent days, a series of historic bomber aircraft deployments have been made to RAF Fairford Air Base in the United Kingdom. This situation lays bare, in all its starkness, just how destructive and decisive the Pentagon's intentions toward the Iranian regime are. The B-52 Stratofortress aircraft landed one after another at the base, forming a formidable force. Furthermore, the number of heavy bombers the U.S. has stationed on British soil, ready for action, has risen to an astonishing 23. The influx of all these massive air and naval military assets into the region is a sign. This situation is interpreted as the clearest indication that Iran will face the largest, most serious, and heaviest airstrike in its military history. On the other hand, this heavy military pressure against Tehran is not limited to U.S. naval and air forces. Because this massive and deadly military ring formed against Iran's lawless threats is expanding. The United Kingdom is also taking its place in this encirclement as America's most loyal and formidable ally. The UK is managing the process in a highly aggressive, determined, and strategic manner. The British Navy is urgently deploying the massive amphibious assault ship RFA Lime Bay to the region. The ship has been tasked with clearing the deadly minefields Iran has laid in the Strait of Hormuz and opening up a vital area for American operations. Moreover, this critical move by the London administration is not the only military card it has played in the region. HMS Anson, one of the most technologically advanced and lethal submarines in the British Navy, is also there. This nuclear-powered vessel is currently lying in wait silently in the depths of the Arabian Sea, near the Iranian coast. Seamless coordination will be established between this amphibious assault ship sent by the UK and the nuclear submarine in the depths of the sea. This situation demonstrates that London has effectively established a massive naval force in the region, even on its own. The deployment of American and British military assets in such an integrated and consecutive manner to the same region is having consequences. This situation is narrowing the maneuvering space of the cornered Tehran regime with every passing second. These massive and historic military deployments herald a major shift. They carry the footsteps of a storm that will fundamentally alter the fragile dynamics of the Middle East, which hang by a thread. Now we have reached the most critical point. So, what critical operations will these joint allied naval and air assets carry out against Iran's threats in the region? In particular, the high-tech USS George Bush aircraft carrier, recently deployed by the U.S., will play a critical role. When that anticipated ground operation begins, it could ruthlessly and directly target Iran's strategic military and energy facilities. Revolutionary Guard bases on Karg Island, the key point of the ground operation, are in the crosshairs. The shoulder-fired air defense batteries and oil export terminals defending the island could be wiped off the map by attacks from F-35C fighters launched from the USS George Bush. The anti-ship missiles and massive radar systems Iran has deployed along its southern coast over months of effort are also under threat. Faced with absolute technological superiority from the air, these systems could be rendered completely blind before they even have a chance to fire their missiles. In addition to U.S. naval assets, we must not overlook the capabilities of the 23 bombers mentioned earlier that are set to participate in operations against Iran. Because in addition to this immense activity at sea, the American bomber force, carrying what seems like tons of munitions, has also mobilized in the skies. This deterrent air power has already begun striking air operations. The massive bombers the U.S. has deployed to RAF Fairford in the United Kingdom have not been idle in recent days. The aircraft carried out devastating precision strikes against Iran's best-protected targets deep within its territory. In particular, American B-2 stealth bombers used bunker-busting munitions capable of tearing through concrete meters below the surface as easily as paper. These aircraft undertook virtually non-stop strategic missions across Iran throughout the night. During these relentless airstrikes in March, 3 massive underground missile production facilities, directly belonging to the Revolutionary Guards and carved into the mountains, were destroyed. Additionally, a strategic missile storage center was completely obliterated. Immediately following these successful and devastating strikes, America's B-2 aircraft safely returned to Whiteman Air Force Base. On their way back, they left behind strategic Iranian facilities reduced to piles of rubble. This U.S. air superiority in the skies has not been limited to this in recent days. A pair of massive B-1 Lancer strategic bombers also rained bombs on Iran's underground missile facilities in recent days. The precision strike aircraft then successfully returned to Fairford Air Base. These bombers, which took off from the United Kingdom, descended upon Iranian skies like a nightmare. The operations carried out have gone down in the records as the Iranian regime's greatest loss of ammunition and infrastructure since the start of the war. The air campaign is crippling Iran's military capabilities in its interior day by day. Now, let's add the UK's naval power in the region to all of this. Because at the same time, the massive coalition force at sea is also preparing to forcibly break the rusty lock of the Strait of Hormuz. The UK's latest modern amphibious assault ship deployed to the region, the RFA Lime Bay, will undertake a major mission. Equipped with state-of-the-art unmanned mine-hunting boats and underwater drone systems, the ship will serve as a steel shield against covert threats. This colossal engineering marvel will exchange encrypted tactical data second by second with the nuclear-powered submarine HMS Anson. Both naval assets will likely operate in flawless and seamless coordination. The silent hunter in the depths, HMS Anson, will detect Iranian unmanned attack vehicles with its ultra-sensitive sonars before they even surface. RFA Lime Bay, meanwhile, will neutralize these threats instantly using unmanned boats deployed from the surface. This technological synergy demonstrated by the British Navy is merging with U.S. forces, the true colossal military power in the region. When fully integrated with the task forces of the USS George Bush and USS Abraham Lincoln, an unstoppable destructive force emerges. Thanks to this massive coordination, the navies have achieved a significant capacity. The US and the United Kingdom can simultaneously turn Iran's southern coastal logistics ports and radar stations into a hellish inferno. Additionally, fast attack boat bases are also on this target list. These targets can be struck within the same second by both Tomahawk missiles launched from HMS Anson and jets taking off from aircraft carriers. Currently, the U.S. has already destroyed such Iranian attack boats and unmanned maritime vehicles using the legendary A-10 Warthog aircraft. These aircraft have effectively signaled that they will remain in the air fleet for quite some time before being retired. The A-10 Warthogs have virtually obliterated the boats and naval vessels Iran uses for asymmetric attacks, the remnants of its navy. Once the legendary combination of U.S. aircraft carriers, UK naval assets, and Warthogs is deployed, all these points could become a thing of the past. Those stealthy intelligence ships and coastal surveillance towers, Tehran's biggest assets at sea, could be targeted. These structures could be completely blinded and reduced to rubble in the first wave of attacks. However, even this massive naval force might require strategic reinforcements from outside in a major war. At this point, we come to U.S. President Donald Trump's long-standing request for assistance from the EU. Because Iran targets Gulf countries, Israel, and U.S. bases in the region almost every day, there is no guarantee that Tehran will not go beyond such attacks. Against this possibility, there is a silent yet extremely deadly vigil in the deep waters of the Mediterranean. The massive naval assets deployed by European Union countries to the region are in battle formation off the coast of the eastern Mediterranean. This force serves as a secret military wildcard capable of instantly altering the course of the global crisis. So, which deterrent naval forces are currently present in the region? France's nuclear-powered aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle and Italy's ITS Cavour lead this fleet. Although this massive fleet is currently in a defensive posture, its weapons are ready to fire at any moment. EU leaders had stated in their statements made through diplomatic channels that they would not actively participate in this war at the initial stage. However, the war in the Middle East has its own brutal rules. A small spark ignited in the Persian Gulf could very easily and quickly spread to Europe's secure borders. If Iran, cornered and in a final act of desperation, crosses the red lines with ballistic missiles or deadly swarm drones, the situation could change. In the face of such reckless moves, Europe's cautious stance could instantly turn into icy fury. Tehran's attempts to destroy civilian maritime trade or directly threaten European territory, such as Cyprus, with missiles would serve as a trigger. We have already witnessed Iran attacking the RAF Akrotiri base on the island in early March. In the event of another such attack, the massive fleet waiting in the Mediterranean could finally start its engines. In reality, Iran fears the U.S. strike force more than the naval presence in the Mediterranean. When we consider the military encirclement closing in from all sides and the B-52s circling overhead, the picture becomes clear. With that impenetrable steel wall at sea, Iran's options at the negotiating table are rapidly and ruthlessly dwindling. Iran's religious and military leadership is currently standing on ground that is practically engulfed in flames. The Tehran regime is trying to balance itself on the very edge of a double-edged sword. If they do not back down by that critical deadline, they may choose to fire the weapons they have developed. They could deploy those massive kamikaze drone fleets and the thousands of long-range ballistic missiles stored in underground silos. These extremely risky and desperate retaliatory strikes could change everything. However, such a reckless retaliation would not be limited to the heavy military losses suffered by both sides. It would also completely sever the massive global oil supply chain stretching from Asia to Europe. As a natural and devastating consequence, oil prices per barrel would skyrocket. Currently, Brent crude is around $115. This is precisely why efforts are being made to prevent this apocalyptic scenario from plunging the entire world into darkness. To this end, massive military powers like the US and the United Kingdom have joined forces and established a presence in the region. Europe, while hesitant, is actively maintaining naval assets in the region. The primary mission of this massive and determined coalition is clear. It is to clear the critical Strait of Hormuz, which Iran uses as a tool for blackmail, of mines, and reopen it to safe trade. Let's take a broader look at the current situation. The Middle East is once again the stage for a showdown between global superpowers on this ruthless chessboard. This showdown is an irreversible, extremely harsh, bloody process where all the rules are being rewritten from scratch. As a result, US aircraft carriers and the UK's nuclear submarines are on duty, blocking the seas. With bomber fleets and Europe's standing-by navy, Iran is under a blockade. The Tehran regime is facing what is undoubtedly the largest and most impenetrable military blockade in its history. With the expiration of the tense deadline set by Trump, a violent storm could erupt in the region. This storm could be so destructive that it would redraw not only borders, but also the world's energy map and economic power balances. These massive war machines are pointed directly at the heart of Iran. The entire world is holding its breath, waiting for that terrifying and historic breaking point to arrive. Do you think Iran, cornered as it is, will accept defeat and sit down at the negotiating table once Trump's uncompromising 10-day deadline expires? Or will they use all their power to set the Middle East ablaze in an irreversible manner? And will the European Union fleet abandon its safe defensive position once the conflicts in the region escalate further?
Dear viewers, if you like the video, don't forget to like, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel.